Hi, I'm Susan Shaner with Community Forum, and I'm your host today. And I have the great pleasure to have with me Carolyn Aversano, who is the publisher of the Fairfield County edition of Natural Awakenings magazine. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Great to have you. Can you share with our viewers, what is Natural Awakenings magazine?
Natural Awakenings is a national publication. There are over 85 local editions throughout the country, and so my edition is the Fairfield County edition, which has been around for 7 years now.
Really? Has it been that long? Because I know I've picked it up and seen it in stores in 7 years. Okay.
7 years.
So what is the magazine targeted towards? What's the purpose of the magazine? The
purpose of the magazine is to inspire and promote healthy living and a healthy planet. And so that covers areas like natural health, nutrition, sustainable living, creative expression, personal growth, fitness, etc.
So some people might call this New Age movement. What do you say to that?
I don't particularly subscribe to that notion because I feel that a lot of people misunderstand that. I think that for me, it's about healthier living, and healthier means healthier than where you are today.
Yeah.
So whether that means taking 1 step or 100 steps forward, it's moving in that direction to lead a better life.
So it could be anything from starting meditation to going on a diet to
eating more vegetables, etc.
Okay. So it's a franchise, and you own the Fairfield County edition of the franchise. So tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, like I said, there are now over 85 throughout the country, and it's been really exciting. When I started, less than 3 years ago, there were 47 of them, and there are 85 today, and in a pretty, what we'd call sluggish economy. I think it's a pretty amazing sign that people are looking for more authenticity and more information in the areas particularly of health and the environment. So I think it's very timely for where we are today.
So it sounds like it's really exploded in the last 3 years, right around the time when the economy sort of tanked. People are searching for answers, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and that's when you started.
Yes.
This edition. Did you just acquire it, or did you start up the Fairfield County edition?
No, the Fairfield County edition is, we're in our 7th year, and so I took it over 3 years ago.
Oh, so the 7th year was the Fairfield County edition, or the whole... No, the whole national is starting like 93, 94?
Yeah, it's almost 20 years, about 18 years now.
Okay.
And Fairfield County, 7 years, and I'm here with it for 3 years.
Okay, great. So how did you come to it? What made you decide to do it? What's your background for it?
It was the most unexpected twist certainly of my career, and one of the most unexpected twists in my life, really. But my background had been for the past prior 15 years in marketing, retail marketing, primarily in the beauty industry. And I've always been very fortunate to love the work that I've done, but my life was changing in that I got married, and I have 3 beautiful kids, and we bought a house in the suburbs, and then moved further out in the suburbs. And when I had my 3rd baby, my daughter Sophia, I took some time off after, and it was the first time that I had really taken any time off. I hadn't done that with my 2 sons. And it really, very quickly, I realized that I was really missing out on a lot. And
you mean a lot being home?
Being home.
Oh, okay.
Really.
So were you commuting into the city before?
Oh, yeah. I was commuting to the city. I had, very demanding jobs, long hours and travel, and, loved what I was doing. But as I had, 1 child and another child, I just sort of worked harder and organized more and, did what you had to do. But when I had my daughter, I realized this formula is just not going to work.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
Not sustainable, no pun intended. Exactly. Exactly. And so I just instinctively knew I was not going back to that career. And I took a year off. And it was just great to just connect with my children and really, be a stay-at-home mom for that year. And, as I did that, I kind of made some very natural changes. I, kind of paid more attention to what are my kids eating, and I turned the family organic. And, at a very basic level, just started shopping differently and shopping at different places and doing that. And, went very basically green and changed the light bulbs and started recycling, more within the home and very basic things. And,
I'm just curious, what did you notice when you went organic? Because we have an organic household, too. I mean, I've been organic for years, before it was vogue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very practical kind of person, so my feeling is if it's, comparably priced, or a little bit more expensive and not so inconvenient, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? You know? And so it was a very easy change, you know, for me to make in that way. And you know, it's like I said, one step kind of leads to the next. You know, you sort of learn a little more and read a little more and kind of make changes, and it becomes, you know, very...
So it's more like an evolution versus a revolution.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So you took the time off and just, it sounds like, got reconnected to yourself, your family, made some lifestyle changes, so you were living what the magazine's about. How did you find out about the magazine?
You know, I wasn't living what the magazine was about. I didn't, if you had asked me, you know, 5 years ago about holistic health, I would have said, what's holistic? I mean, I truly, I was not in that zone in any way. You know, so after I took the year off, I
Drinking
said,
soda
okay.
and all that stuff.
You know, I mean, it was just very, I wasn't, you know, a very unhealthy person, but I certainly was not in the zone of where I am today.
Yeah.
And so after a year, I said, okay, you know, now what? You know what? Right. I knew I needed a career. I'm that kind of person, but had absolutely no idea where that was, what that was going to be.
So how did you discover that?
Yeah, it was, you know, I stumbled across a great book by Cheryl Richardson, Take Time for Your Life. It's still one of my favorites that I, you know, like to read every year. And it's all about consciously creating your life and, you know, what fuels you and what drains you and, you know, and so I really, that was kind of my first entry into a holistic, you know, type of anything. And I was glued to it and just really made me make a lot of changes within my life. And so I started doing yoga and really liked that. And really it was just a practical thing, again, trying to get back into shape after my daughter was born.
Yeah.
You know, nothing spiritual, nothing more than that, really.
Yeah.
I started taking walks every day, you know, outside on this gorgeous dirt country road with a lake and meadows, and found that I loved being outside and realized that I had been so disconnected from, you know, what I had loved as a child, and that sort of resonated with me. And you know, it was the year of 2008. A lot of connect the dots that sort of led me to this. I was very frustrated in that I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so in Cheryl's book, she talks about just kind of defining it. Well, I didn't know. I truly didn't know. And so I came up with 3 words, and it was challenging, balanceable, and rewarding. Those are the 3 criteria that I needed in this new thing, whether it was part-time or...
Challenging, balanceable, and rewarding. So what do those words mean to you? So what would be challenging?
Challenging meaning I didn't want to have a job to have a job. You know, it was really, if I'm going to do something, I want to be passionate about it and meaningful and inspiring and engaging and all of that. And rewarding in the sense of I wanted it to, again, be something meaningful to me. And balanceable in that I have this great family and I want them to be the priority, and being able to balance this career with this family.
So you're the publisher of this magazine in Fairfield County. It has, what's the circulation?
23,000 monthly.
In Fairfield County.
Fairfield County.
How do you balance it?
You know, it's still a big job for sure, but I work from home, and I am really able to kind of work hard, but also know that, you know, when I need to go to my children's school events, I simply do. I manage that. And when I need to take a day off, I do, and I manage that. And, you know, it's just sort of consciously, you know, having the ability and the flexibility to make those choices.
So would you say you're working the same kind of hours that you did? I'm assuming you worked for a company or a corporation based upon what you were saying. But so do you work still the same kind of crazy hours?
Nah, I mean, 1 week out of the month when we're in production, it's pretty crazy, but other than that, it's much more sane, far more sane than it was before.
Yeah, so it's still like a 40-hour-a-week job?
Yeah, I would say about that.
So tell us a little bit about the magazine for those folks that haven't read it. You know, what's in it? How could they benefit? It's a free magazine, first of all, for the community, free. So where can people pick it up, and why would they want to read it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we're distributed in about 700 locations all throughout Fairfield County, in every town. And so
700?
700,
wow.
Yeah. And so you'll find it at grocery stores, at cafes, at delis, at libraries, certainly the Danbury Library, the Danbury train station.
I mean, I found it at health food stores.
Health food stores, certainly, yes. Stu Leonard's, Chamomile Natural Market, et cetera. And everywhere where free publications are generally found.
So how do you target where you're going to distribute it to?
You know, that's an interesting question, because We like to have a mix of targeted locations that are where people who are living a holistic lifestyle will be, so like yoga studios and health food markets and things like that, but also very much areas where more mainstream people can use this as an entry point into these areas.
Yeah.
So, which is why we will be in restaurants or delis or supermarkets, etc.
It reminds me of, like, not to put a plug in for Whole Foods, but, you know, that's a store where if somebody eats junk food in the house and somebody eats, you know, healthy food, you can both kind of shop there. That's the challenge, because you have to go to one store or the other,
Right.
you know. You know, the interesting thing is, so I did poke around the national site a little bit, and I was really surprised to learn it targets, we're talking potentially 70 million consumers. That's incredible, and that 70% are female. More than 51% have a household income of more than $75,000. 72% are between the ages of 25 to 54, and 80% purchase products or services from the ad scene at Natural Awakenings. I mean, those are pretty good statistics. I mean, clearly it appears to me to be a fairly well affluent, educated, potentially female market.
Well, and it's also extremely targeted. So, you know, for our advertisers who are in any of these related fields, it's the place to promote your business. You know, there's not a lot of those type of options. You know, I like to say we really cater to two different groups of readers: those who are living a holistic lifestyle and those who are interested in learning about it.
Yeah, because you have really interesting articles, you know, on a whole array of things. Some really, really, you know, edgy out there, and some a little bit more mainstream, you know, like your standard yoga class or whatever, you know. But you have got a lot of, I mean, it's a combination of interesting articles, and some are from the national syndication, it looks like, because they're really well-known authors. You've got some local authors, and then you've got a listing of different events and classes in the Fairfield County area,
Right.
like a calendar. Because it comes out once a month.
Right.
So, and
that's really the beauty of the formula of Natural Awakenings, is that because of the scale, you know, we're able to have these great cutting-edge authors and renowned leaders, and also married with local experts and local content and local calendar of events and things like that.
Well, because I know I found as a reader, there's a lot of value there in learning about people who are local, who I could go to a talk or go to a class, or, you know, there's a lot of free stuff.
Right.
And also some interesting articles from, you know, very well-known published authors like Wayne Dyer and, you know, Marianne Williamson, and, you know, people who are, you know, household names in this era.
Right. It's really the best combination, and but the local part of it is what makes it relevant, more relevant to the reader, and more importantly, more actionable. I've learned this, I've read this, now what do I do? Where do I go?
Yeah, either for support, education,
products,
classes,
whatever it is.
products, because in some cases there's a lot of different support groups or free classes or free talks, so it doesn't even have to be
resources
things that,
out there.
It's incredible. So it's really like a wealth of information, and I actually was surprised too, because I've been picking up the magazine for a number of years now. When I went online to the site, there's so much more information, and it's actually organized in a really user-friendly way as well. Yes,
enaturalawakenings.com, and we launched that just the end of last year, so it's growing, and I would imagine that within 2 years it should be as large as the magazine, which is great. It's just a different way of getting your information.
Because I went to your link, so Fairfield County, but are you connected and are you leveraging the national?
Much the way that the magazine leverages it, in that we have national editorial, but again also our own local editorial and local events and local resources, etc.
So what's the benefit of being part of a franchise?
You know, it's great for somebody like me. I wouldn't have been able to find the balanceable part without that. You know, in that they do provide infrastructure, primarily in the source of editorial, which is wonderful, and ongoing training. You know, everything from business training to, you know, how to develop and create great ads that are effective. And then probably the most surprising aspect of being in this as a franchise is the power of the network. I always think of that Verizon commercial. It's the network, baby. There is a network of, you know, 85 plus publishers out there. And they come from all walks of life and have all different strengths and weaknesses and levels of experience, and there is no question that somebody out there doesn't know the answer to.
So you can, and then the great thing is that you're not competing with each other.
No.
You know, you're in your own market.
Right.
But you can share information, support each other. How often, is there any sort of like, I don't know, annual meeting where you all get together? Or?
We do. We do have annual publishers conferences, but we also have kind of an intranet where, you know, there are questions and answers and, you know, all day long. And so, you know, again, there's no question that can't be answered, or, you know, I'm having trouble with this, what should I try? Or, you know, anything you can imagine, there's somebody out there for support.
So you really have like a 21st century business where you're operating, you have a home base?
Yes.
Home office?
Yep.
And then all your support is virtual?
Yes.
And so to put the magazine together?
Yes.
And you're leveraging the national, and then you're doing the work on the website as well. Mm-hmm. So you really have two different vehicles that you're populating, if
yes.
you will.
Yes.
But now the other thing is that I noticed is that you are sponsoring, tell us a little bit more about this, what's coming up in September around events.
We are, in September, we're having a promotion called Awakenings, and it is a month-long celebration of healing arts, and with a focus on more of the kind of personal growth aspects of the magazine. And it's really geared, the public will be invited to sample all different free classes and workshops all month long at over 50 participating locations. And it's really, you know, it's geared a little bit more towards the mainstream audience, for people who have never tried yoga, who have never tried meditation, etc., to just come in and try it and see what it does for you, because I really believe that if everyone on this planet practiced yoga, the world would be a very different place. A very, very different place.
A little saner, maybe.
Yes, a little saner,
maybe we
a little
can come
less
to
war.
agreements on budgets and things
yes,
like that.
yes. A little less war, a little less aggression, a little less greed. You know, so at a very fundamental level, it just invites people to try these wonderful healing modalities and to meet all of the different practitioners that are out there, and they're very excited and have been so generous with their offerings. They're very excited to share what they do.
So there's classes and workshops at 50 different locations around Fairfield County, and so it details the schedule, and people can just pop in whenever they want to during the course of the month?
Well, you have to call to reserve your spot at each of the classes that you're interested in, but the full listing is on eNaturalAwakenings.com. Okay. And, you know, it's just, it's the first annual of this event, and we're really excited.
So it's something that you organized?
Yes, yes.
And how did this come about?
You know, it's been on my mind for many months, and I sort of thought it would be at one big location, and I kept getting stuck by that and the logistics of that. And then I realized, you know what, there's all of these amazing practitioners all throughout the county. Why not get everyone involved? And it's become a much more collective, you know, unity.
So the places where they're being sponsored at, are they also, so everybody's donating their time and space? And so we know what's in it for the practitioners because people can get to know them and they can, you know, market some of their services, but what's in it for the people who are donating the space?
Well, it's typically their space, so it's, you know, at a yoga studio or a meditation studio or a healing center or a wellness center or a spa, you know, or a practitioner's office. So it's for the most part, it's at their space or at a space where they would hold their regular events. They're just deciding to host them for free this month.
So how did you get all the practitioners? So how did they learn about it? Because I know you have, you know, ads and listings of different events. Does a practitioner need to pay to have a listing in the directory, if you will?
For advertising, yes. For this event, no. We're promoting it for free. We're, you know, they're offering their services for free. This is really kind of a, you know, a collective effort, community outreach, if you will, to educate the community about all of these great services.
That's great. So, so there's no like one sort of opening ceremony, if you will, but somebody gets the listing and they can just pop into a class or a talk.
Well, in addition to all of the free classes and workshops that are being offered throughout September, we're also having 6 or so larger events that will be held on the weekends. So those are all-day events, and that's where you can kind of experience yoga, meditation, music like a drumming circle, lectures from you know, healing energy, excuse me, etc. So it's a day-long, you know, lineup of these.
So is it too late for practitioners to offer their services?
No, it's never too late. No. August 25th is the deadline to be included in our promotion, and you know, we welcome any practitioners that are in those.
So again, they would go to
eNaturalAwakenings.com.
Okay, so Is it just a coincidence that you're offering this in September, which also happens to be the month of the anniversary of 9/11, or is that just a coincidence?
You know, no, but it's become
It's cool.
a wonderful, yeah, no. In fact, 2 of our larger events are on the 9th and the 10th, and they're so excited to be able to you know, memorialize this, and some of these services offer such comfort and healing on any day, but certainly they're excited to share that.
Yeah. Cool. So what's the greatest thing that you have loved about this work?
You know, what I didn't mention when I was kind of looking for this, one of the other issues that was really near and dear to my heart, my son, my middle child, when he was 6, he was having some issues at school, and, you know, everyone kind of assumed ADD, and it's so rampant among boys and all of this. And, you know, what I experienced, you know, pediatricians and the schools today are so very, very quick to recommend drugs for these kids. And that was right around the time that I picked up my first Natural Awakenings. And I stumbled upon an article that wasn't even about kids or ADD, but it got me thinking. And I read some more and read some more, and I really, it was one of the big fundamental reasons that made me take this job, is that I realized that there must be so many other people out there that would, I mean, I really do feel that we may very well have put him on Ritalin had I not stumbled upon that information. And simply because, you know, he's, you know, our child. You want to help and fix the problem in any way you can, and we had no reason not to trust them. Loved our pediatrician, love our school. No reason not to. And that was a very huge moment for me. And, you know, before I signed on, I really struggled with, why me? Why would I be a leader of a holistic magazine? And ultimately that became the answer, is that, you know what, I'm not an expert in any of these areas, but, you know, don't mess with the mama and her cub.
Right, exactly, Mother Bear.
But, you know, and that's really the reason, is that I feel that, you know, 95% of the residents in Fairfield County are still more in the mainstream, who haven't entered, and I think this magazine is very much an entry point for people who can learn that there really are other healthier, safer options out there.
So it sounds like you were able to get to the root of whatever your son's problem was, and it was
no Ritalin,
no Ritalin,
no
it was a natural, holistic,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's a pretty powerful story. It seems like that happens a lot with people. It comes from a natural, personal story. So what's your hope and vision for this work? You said you never imagined yourself being a leader of a holistic health magazine. You are. Well, you know, where do you want to take it? You're doing this first really cool month of offerings.
You know, I feel like there are roughly 1 million residents in Fairfield County, and
1 million, is that what it is?
Yeah, and Fairfield, and you know, maybe 5% are living kind of a holistic lifestyle.
Is that the statistics? How do you know that?
I mean, I estimate sort of based on our own circulation, and, you know, that sort
really
of
5%.
Let's say 10. I think that's very
you know, I have a daily
ambitious.
yoga and meditation practice, and I'm a yoga and meditation instructor. You know, on the side, it's my calling. I'm very upset to hear those statistics. Do you think that's what it is?
I do.
Wow.
And I think that therein lies that opportunity. You know, not to convert people, but to open the door to
expose and.
Absolutely. I really do. I am a testimonial for the magazine. I truly am. I was a extremely mainstream, totally unholistic person who, you know, has had an awakening in that 1 year prior to joining alone. And I just think that it's an amazing experience.
So you drank the Kool-Aid and now you're evangelizing.
No, not at all. I think it's not, you know, we're not, I think the magazine has never been about judgment at all. Again, it's really about where you are today and taking a few steps, you know, towards a healthier lifestyle.
Oh, that's interesting that you took it that way. I meant just kind of like getting the good word out.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever that means, for, like you said, whatever that means for people, kind of wherever they're at. There's just getting more healthier every day. Whatever their starting point is.
You know, I'm not sensitive, but I always come from that approach that I wasn't into any of this just a few years ago, so I'm certainly not at all in any position to preach anything. I just, you know that there's great information out there, and if you try any of these things and they resonate with you, one step will lead to the next. And, you know, it's all good stuff. It's about making yourself healthier. It's about protecting our planet, and it's about, you know, really creating a better world by making yourself happy so you can make others happy.
What's been your greatest challenge with it?
Still the balance. You know, it's far more balanceable than my previous career, but it's always, you know, a struggle because there's just so many opportunities out there and where to draw the line, and for me personally.
And And
you know,
your kids, you have 3 kids, and
I
they're
have
relatively
3
young,
kids,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always going to be the challenge, I think.
Because there's more that you want to do.
Yeah.
So you're starting next month with this first
Awakenings
celebration. What's your hope for how this might build or where you might take it?
I love the collective nature of this, and I think that the people and the practitioners involved have loved it as well. It's just generated so much enthusiasm and excitement, you know, long before it ever kicks off. And so I just feel that, you know, if one person can touch one person and so on and so on and so on, and you have all these people sprinkled throughout the county, that's kind of an awesome positive energy floating around, you know.
So it's really building momentum.
And education. It's all about education.
Yeah, yeah. So, what else do you think is important for people to know in terms of the magazine or the celebration?
I guess I would say for people who have never tried any of these services, well, that's why we're doing it, and why all these practitioners are doing it free of charge. Just come and try it. See what it does for you.
So let's take somebody who maybe hasn't, you know, just think, let's say even yoga or something like that. It's just way out there. It's like way out of their comfort zone. You know, what would be a class or an area that would be safe to experiment with?
I think a beginner's yoga class. You know, there's all different types of yoga classes out there. But, you know, when I took it for the first time, it was really about fitness, and I thought it would be easier than, you know, going to the gym, frankly.
Yeah,
It just turned out to be
sweat.
so relaxing, and, you know, and it had better results for my body than all of that, you know, endless running on the treadmill did for all those years.
Right.
So try that. That's a great fitness angle, if not, you know, a spiritual angle.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you've said it a couple times, but in signing off, can you just give our viewers one more time? Where do they want to go to access this information?
eNaturalawakenings.com.
And on that site, eNaturalawakenings.com, they could also find out where they could pick up a hard copy of the magazine if they want to.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thanks, Carolyn, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm Susan Shaner. Until next time with Community Forum. Thank you for joining us.